you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, joining you once again from New Jersey, where this past weekend I had the pleasure of attending the 5th annual State of New Jersey Officials Clinic, the NJFOA Clinic, and that's kind of what we're going to be going over today. But before we dive into the episode, I'd like to thank my partners at our official equipment partner of Whistle Talk, refshop.us. Whether you're getting ready for your first game or you're gearing up for another season, refshop.us has everything the football official needs, from uniforms and flags to whistles, penalty markers, beanbags, down indicators, timing equipment, and their custom Midland Crew communication headsets. They also carry the Reading Study Guide, which we all need to dive into this time of the year so that we could stay sharp in our NFHS rules. So if you're preparing for kickoff this season, take a visit, refshop.us, and use promo code TALK26, TALK26 at checkout to receive 10% off of your order. So now let's talk about today's episode. So a few days ago, I had the opportunity to attend the 5th annual NJFOA preseason football clinic, which was hosted at Raritan High School here in New Jersey, also my alma mater. Had the pleasure of talking with over 300 football officials from across the state of New Jersey, and we came out with some pretty good material and information, and it's all of these clinics are designed to make us better officials heading into the 2026 season. So throughout the day, we heard from different clinicians, including our state Assignor, Mark Bitar, our rules interpreter, our state of New Jersey rules interpreter, Mike Bartram, and a retired NFL down judge, Ed Camp, retired ACC side judge, Jim Corpora, current ACC referee, Jerry Magallanes, who, well, he did this past national championship game. Also umpire Patrick Oldham, side judge Jerry Welter, and there were tons of other people there. If it was from ECO to cadets that were just getting started, there was a lot of different information going on. We had a couple breakout sessions. I split off to go with the umpires, and then we had another breakout session where it was umpires and referees. So what I'm hoping to do today is, if you weren't able to attend the clinic, or if you've never been to a clinic at all, or if you were there, I'm hoping that this just helps reinforce what you learned. And if you weren't there, or if you've never been to a clinic, you get an idea of what the clinic scenario is. So this episode is a little bit of a bonus episode. I'm going to be dropping this one on the Wednesday after the clinic, but it's also going to come out with our regular drop. But I just wanted to put it out there, and well, I'm going to let it go from here and let my clips take over. So thanks once again for listening. Hit those like buttons, hit those subscribe buttons, and, well, let's get started. All right, joining me now, I've got Mr. Mike Bartram, our New Jersey State rules interpreter, our rules guru here for New Jersey. Mike, morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, Mike. Thank you so much.
So, really quick, Mike, what kind of major rules do we have looking forward with 2026 season rolling around?
So the good news for the officials and the coaches and players is that there really isn't anything substantial coming in 26. The one big thing is that the play bands that a lot of teams wear on their wrist or arm, they're allowed to be now worn on the belt. Before that was a restriction. And then there was just a lot of language cleanup for some of the rules. But again, from an actual playing standpoint, really nothing like we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, it seems like this year is pretty easy, and that's a good thing. I know the Federation's been working hard, so I think we're getting to be in a great spot. What about points of emphasis for this coming season? I know that's always a big thing that we have to deal with and really emphasize to the coaches, especially now with preseason rolling along.
Yeah, so the points of emphasis this year, really, the three big ones are really unsportsmanlike and flagrant activities.
Okay.
Right? We really want to make sure that the officials are jumping on those early. We want to make sure the coaches are relaying that message at excellent sportsmanship, right? Football at this level is an extension of the classroom, so they should be, looking at it as an education opportunity. One of the other points of emphasis is illegally helping the runner. So for those Eagle fans out there, that ridiculous tush push that they do, that is something that is not allowed in high school. That is something we want to make sure we are getting out. That is also a safety issue. Adding that momentum to the runner can be a safety issue. And the last one is really just good sideline discipline. Right, that team box and in that restricted area, coaches have to understand that that's the official's office. Okay. Right, we're not going to come back and get in their huddle when they're trying to coach their coaches. Or coach their players. We want to make sure we have a clean path when we're running up and down the field. It's their safety and ours as well.
All right, Mike. Appreciate your time today and appreciate everything you do for the state. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a good one.
Have a good
helping the runner, sideline management, and identification of the NFHS authenticating mark on handballs. All right, flagrant unsportsmanlike fouls. I think this goes without saying. These are the type of fouls. These play cards not worn on the wrist, arm, or belt. So the big difference now, they can now wear the play card on the belt. Confines of the playing area. Where are my basketball guys? Right? Wording should look familiar, right? It's pretty much the same word that we've had in hoops for years, where the visual confines of the court. What this does is it clears up any issue about if something happens immediately following the game while you're leaving the field. You're leaving the field, the defensive coordinator didn't like the way you called it, he gets in your face and berates you all the way to the gate. Your hands aren't tied, they never were, but now this is very clear. You can still, after the fact, even though the game's over, you can disqualify that coach for a flagrant act. Player jumps in your face after the game, hey, they think the game's over, it's a freebie. It's not a free pass now.
Season.
All right, joining me now, I got Mark Bitar, the New Jersey State Assignor. Mark works for the entire state, especially with the playoffs. Mark, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Getting back in the football swing, so it's awesome. So, a couple questions for you, Mark. As being the state Assignor, what qualities are you looking for that define between a good official and a great official?
Good officials know the rules. I think great officials can be able to know the rules and actually apply the rules properly. I think great officials are able to see certain scenarios and they're able to kind of calm the waters down, especially when there's a difficult play. Maybe a lot of emotion gets into that play, and they're able to kind of calm the waters down to make it where the play is going to go off and everything is being able to be calm, cool, and collected. I think that's really one of the biggest designations between the two.
Okay, good stuff. So as the Assignor, what are some of the things that you will notice pretty much immediately as you're looking at individuals or crew members or full crews coming onto the field? What are some of the things that you pick up on?
I think there's a couple of things where number one, you look at reliability. That's number one. Okay, so are they able to go to their assignments? Are they able to be consistent from one to the next? And then when you're looking at a game, the number one thing I look at is mechanics. Are they where they need to be for specific situations? I think oftentimes we try to look at and try to identify if something is a good hold call or not a hold call. One of the things that we want to do is, are people in a position to officiate, and are they following the mechanics that have been set forth? I think if we're able to do that, that is something that I really look for, especially when I see on a game.
Oh, great. Last thing, what are some things that we as officials should do to kind of, I don't know, get into the eye of assigners and different things like that? I know everybody's goal, as a former coach, I wanted to get to the state championship. As an official, I want to get to the state championship. So for officials all around the country, what are some of the things that they should be doing to help improve their possibilities of getting to that?
I think it's what we kind of talked about, is when you work the game that you're assigned and work it to the best of your abilities. One of the things that you don't want to do is you want to be consistent from one game to the next. So whether you're working two high-level teams that are vying for the state championship, or whether you're working two games that are still working to get to that level, be consistent in those games. Work with the coaches, no matter whether they're the higher level teams or the teams that are still looking to improve. Try to be able to be consistent on that. Those are the things that are going to set you apart, because when you have a solid crew is a crew that can work whatever game there is, whether it's teams looking to improve or teams that are high level. Can you be consistent in all of those? Because when you get a schedule, whatever level it is, you're not always going to be having the best game of the weekend every single weekend. So be able to be consistent from one to the next, to me, is one of the things that really does set apart a crew. And those are the types of crews that do get rewarded to have deeper runs into the playoffs.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Mark. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
This to me is not a question. This is a chop block, right? I see a couple nodding heads, but just to make sure, this is a big chop block that we want to get, right? You know, we get a lot of these. Hey, do we have enough high contact? Do we have enough? This is always an indicator. We got linemen going like this. This is bad. It's not automatically a hold right away. We got to have a second act basically, but this is a good indicator that we got smoke and that our eyes should be there. If we got linemen coming in, driving in all day, man, that makes our life a whole lot easier. How was the flag throw? I think he tried his best. I'd love to get a little bit more out there, but hey. You get a flag down, you get a flag down. I would much rather you get a flag down and have it not be the best flag throw than not have a flag down. How about that? All right. First and 10, a lot of bodies in the middle. Not a whole lot of action. Let's talk penalty enforcement. I assume during pregame, most of the time we're taking penalty enforcement as our topic of conversation. Is that fair? We know with our crew that, hey, what the expectations are. If we remember from previous years, I did a little preachy about penalty enforcement, but audience participation time. Flag goes down. What do we have to have from our crew members when their flag goes down?
Communication.
Before we get to the results of the play, we are in the middle of the play. The flag goes down. What are our expectations as the umpire for what that official does next? We got to stop the clock. We got to finish the play, stop the clock, and what else? I need a funny whistle. I got to have an understanding that we have a flag on the ground. I think too often a flag goes down, a play finishes, and there's just not enough awareness that we are into penalty enforcement mode now. So I think we just got to make sure that we're communicating with our crews, that, hey, if you got a
All right. As you can see here, everybody looking good, uniform with the patch here. I saw a lot of guys buying stuff here. Okay, these are just some concepts to keep in mind, and it starts with the uniform. When you walk on the field, we want everybody looking good. All right, we want everybody looking good, and that includes your shoes. If you read the manual, your shoelaces are supposed to be black. It says black. If you watch games on TV, more and more college officials, and it's against the college manual, are wearing white shoelaces. That's not acceptable. I actually brought that point up at the rules meeting in Dallas back in January, and I said, well, you're right. Well, then, if we have the thing, let's follow it. If we don't, that's not. Well, you're supposed to wear black shoelaces, okay? All right. With that said, go ahead, Steve. So, obligations, okay? Meetings, it's not an obligation to come to this clinic. We certainly appreciate it, but it's not required. But certainly you have to attend X number of meetings based on the chapter you are a member of. That's a state thing. I know the Central, we have 6. I don't know about the other groups. Some are in person, some are in. That's kind of at the discretion of each of the 4 chapters, okay? I think an email went out the other day about make sure you take your concussion test by a certain date, right? The Federation exam. Now this year it was 60 questions. The Federation exam is actually 50 questions. However, NJSIAA injected 10 more questions, and it was really kind of personalized. If you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's great, no problem. Okay, your dues, all right, chapter dues and state dues. Okay, I think each chapter again sets the parameters as to when they're due and so on. I believe the state dues, correct me if I'm wrong, is $65. Does that sound right? Okay, and the chapter dues, I believe, vary by chapter. Okay, all right. Okay, background check. That's just the way it is today. You got to submit to it, and I think it's part of your state dues, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and, you know, it is what it is. Okay, all right. Go ahead. Now, if you're Mark Bitar or Jeff Cohn or Jim Feligno, the 3 assigners in New Jersey, okay, these things you really appreciate it when a person keeps their ability up to date. I assigned high school softball. There's nothing worse in the world. I'm sure when I die, the Lord will hopefully, you know, suffering on earth is redemptive in heaven. If you assign a spring sport that gets rained out a lot, or snowed out a lot, or whatever else a lot, you have a lot of, you paid a lot of deposits, okay, over the years. But keep your availability up to date. It's incredible to me, in this day and age, even you text a guy, you don't hear back from the guy. You know how rude that is? You know how rude that is? It's rude. Okay? If nothing else, hey, I'll get back to you. I'll call you, whatever. Okay? Same thing with an email. I used to work for a guy in the ACC named Doug Rhodes. Sadly, he passed away. He said, if you don't respond to an email, that's a response. No response is a response, and it's not going to go well for you. It is, and you're an official. This is like you have a business, right? And therefore, you should run it like a business in the sense that if a client asks you how much do these shoes cost, you ought to be able to get back to them and tell them how much they are. So please, take 15 seconds, 30 seconds, respond to text messages, respond to emails. Keep your arbiter availability up to date, okay? Assigners expect you to be honest, okay? And these other things that you have to do, okay? All these things are expectations. It's all part of the deal. Why we're a little bit special, good officials. There are people sitting in this room have been evaluated. There are people sitting in this room that maybe have yet to be evaluated. But regardless, and I learned this the hard way, because I made more mistakes than any of you, but hopefully I learned. The first time I ever was observed in a college football game, I used to belong to a group called the ECAC. That stood for Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference. The schools were everywhere from Virginia all the way up to like Maine. I mean, it was forever. And I was always told back in the day that some evaluators are really tough. The first game I ever was evaluated, officiating FCS, I had a game at Yale University. It's one of those places that I could not have possibly gotten into if it wasn't for officiating. I couldn't have felt an obligation. Okay? So we go there, and The supervisor, his first name was John, I won't tell you his last name, but he was known as, like, he could really be mean about things. Go there, do the game. The game came down, swear to God, to an onside kick late in the game. I was a referee. I'm back at the goal line. And I'm happy because I don't have to worry about the onside kick up front. And so I thought, the guy onside kicks, there's a big pile up, everybody's digging for the ball. I go running up, what do you got? I think I have illegal touching at 9.5 yards. You think? Yeah, I think. Well, of course, football, you got to know. You can't be thinking. The other guy said, no, it was exactly at 10 yards. The ball was legally touched by the kicking team. And, of course, the kicking team recovered the ball. So here I am thinking, oh, boy. And we got this guy evaluating the game who's there in the press box. And I went back to the first guy. How sure are you? I'm positive the guy touched it at 9.5 yards. My beanbag's on the ground. You go, no, it was definitely a 10. Okay? I'm like, is the Lord with me? What do we do at this point? You got to make a decision. So I ruled that the ball was legally recovered. Made the announcement. Okay, Yale has legally recovered the ball. It's 1st and 10. Blah blah blah. And of course the play. Okay. The game ended. Fortunately, the football guys were with us. Yale did not go in the score, so they ended up losing. Okay? We get in the locker room. I was working with an umpire from Connecticut named Rick Feeney. Some of you might remember. Good guy. On the way in, he said, I'm telling you, John's going to go berserk. He's going to go berserk. Okay? Well, okay? Game's over. Get in the locker room. We're all sitting there. The guy comes in. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen anymore. The guy comes in, picture this. You're in uniform. You just had a really tough game on a hot Saturday in September, and the game went to the end, and you're there, and the guy comes in, and he has a big old notebook, and he walks in, and he sits down, and he throws his notebook onto the ground. Thinking, well, this is probably not boding very well right now. Okay? And one at a time, he started with the onside kick. Okay? Bill, you were a terrible thing, blah, 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 blah. Da, 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 da. And I'm sitting back going, I got nothing to worry about. I'm the referee. I'm not worried about it. But he goes, and Jim, you took too long deciding if the ball was legally touched or not. And I started to say, well, John, he said, I don't want to hear it. Okay. And then Rick, the umpire, who had a lot of intestinal fortitude, he said, John, why don't you leave us all the fuck alone? You hear that? Okay. And the guy went berserk. We end the game and everything. I go home. I was still teaching school at the time. On Monday morning, secretary calls my office. Jim, there's some guy on the phone. Her name was Cheryl. I said, Cheryl, by any chance is his first name John? She goes, I think so. I said, ask him if he can call back. And she said, I don't think you want him to call back. He seems like he's pretty adamant as that. I'm in my class teaching American government. Think about this. I get on the phone in my room. Yes, this is Jim. This is John so-and-so. Yeah, I turn the phone towards the kids, I swear to God. And he goes, what the fuck? Wonderful, okay. All the kids, when I keep the kids sleeping, oh. This is pretty good, right? So I have, okay, well, that kind of evaluation isn't done anymore. That I know of. But that
we're going to start off, just going to touch base on visitation with coaches. Yes, your referees and umpires going to go with Pat, take it away.
So I think we covered this a little bit last year, but I'll do this shortly. Right? Umpires, we are putting all of our faith in our referee. Our job is not to say anything. If there is a checklist that they cover every single game and they forget something, but hey, if you want to ask about X, I'm not even looking at the coach. I'm going to talk to my referee, remind him. Other than that, hey, it feels like we're just getting ourselves in trouble pre-game with coaches. Just keep it short, professional. Again, this is the type of thing that gets back to whatever. For whatever reason, there seems to be a couple issues. So